Hello, and welcome to Wisdom and Wealth, a channel dedicated to helping those of us navigating life's later chapters find deeper meaning and lasting prosperity. We're so glad you're here. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects all of us, regardless of age or background: the subtle chains of ownership. We often dream of achieving freedom from financial worries, freedom from physical discomfort, freedom from the anxiety that can cloud our days. The common belief is that accumulating possessions, achieving a certain status, and building a comfortable nest egg will bring us this freedom, offering security and peace of mind. If you find this resonates with you, be sure to like and subscribe. But here's the paradox: the very things we believe will liberate us often become the very things that hold us captive. Instead of bringing the promised security, they slowly morph into responsibilities, anxieties, and dependencies. This isn't about advocating for a life of deprivation, it's about understanding the subtle ways in which our possessions can possess us. Many of us have worked hard to build our lives, acquire our homes, and secure our futures. But have we stopped to consider the true cost of this accumulation? Have we inadvertently traded our freedom for the illusion of control? This is the question we'll be exploring today. A powerful Zen saying reminds us, the more you cling, the less you own. What you think you control controls you. This isn't just a moralistic warning against greed or excessive consumerism. It's a profound insight into the fundamental nature of suffering. When we believe that something truly belongs to us, we become bound to it. We take on the responsibility of protecting it, maintaining it, and constantly worrying about its safety and well-being. The very act of ownership creates a subtle form of servitude. It's like a puppeteer who, in controlling the puppet, also becomes controlled by the puppet's strings. To deepen your understanding of profound teachings, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Think about your home, for instance. It's not just a shelter from the elements, it's also a constant source of potential problems. There are repairs to be made, bills to be paid, and the ever-present worry about damage or theft. A beautiful piece of clothing is not just something to wear, it's also the fear of stains, tears, or losing it altogether. A hard-earned reputation is not just a mark of respect, it's also the anxiety of its potential collapse. The truth, often hidden beneath layers of societal conditioning, is that ownership is not power. It is, in fact, a subtle form of dependence, a kind of slavery disguised as comfort and security. We often think of freedom as the ability to acquire whatever we desire. But what if true freedom lies in desiring less? This video is designed to guide you through the layers of this complex dynamic, revealing how the things you own can, in a very real sense, own you. We're not just going to expose the illusion, but we'll also explore a path toward genuine liberation, a freedom that cannot be threatened by loss, disaster, or the whims of fortune. We'll cover the root of possession, the illusion of control, and how the mind, in its quest for control, can ironically trap us. The mind, in its desire to control life, naturally gravitates towards collecting objects. It believes that by possessing things, it can create a sense of order, predictability, and security. This is the foundational belief that fuels the endless cycle of acquisition. Yet, every object we acquire comes with its own invisible chain, a hidden set of responsibilities and anxieties. A shimmering gold ring, for example, may appear to be a beautiful symbol of wealth and status. But look closer. What else glimmers within your mind? It's likely the subtle fear of loss. What if I lose it? What if it's stolen? A luxurious and comfortable seat offers rest, but the thought may cling: what if it breaks? What if someone damages it? Even the simplest tools demand maintenance, attention, and repair. They require a part of your time, your energy, and your mental space. And if you're resonating with this message, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This reveals a fundamental paradox: the object doesn't truly belong to you, rather, in a sense, you belong to the object. You're bound to its needs, its vulnerabilities, and the constant need to protect and maintain it. Consider the weight of care. Imagine someone holding a single stone. The weight is minimal, almost negligible. But now, imagine holding 10 stones, then 100, then 1,000. Suddenly, the hands, once free to move and create, are now bound and restricted. The shoulders, once light and relaxed, are now bent and strained. So it is with possessions. Each item we accumulate adds another layer of mental responsibility, another stone to the burden we carry. Each layer of responsibility limits the natural flow of our lives, constricting our freedom and flexibility. What begins as a desire to enrich our lives often ends with our lives being consumed by the management of the very things we collected. It becomes a psychological cage, where the bars are made of possessions and the locks are made of fear. Attachment gives birth to fear. Every possession becomes a potential loss, and every potential loss becomes a source of anxiety. Without possessions, one walks freely, unburdened by worry. But with many possessions, one walks with a sense of unease, constantly checking locks, guarding spaces, and scanning faces for potential threats. The heart, which once pulsed with a natural calm, becomes restless, haunted by the shadow of loss. Zen wisdom offers a simple yet profound solution: an open hand never loses what it never grips. A closed hand trembles, knowing its grip can be broken at any moment. To keep the teachings going, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Owning also fosters comparison, which inevitably leads to envy. Once you own something, you begin to measure its value, its status, and its desirability against what others possess. This measurement leads to competition, a constant striving to acquire more, to outdo others, and to prove your worth through external validation. And once you enter the realm of competition, inner peace vanishes. The world becomes a battlefield where value is determined not by inner stillness, but by external accumulation. This is how ownership becomes not only bondage to objects but also bondage to others. It binds you through judgment, through rivalry, and through an endless seeking of validation. You become trapped in a cycle of comparing yourself to others, constantly measuring your worth against their possessions and achievements. The spiritual bondage, or karma, of attachment is a central concept in Buddhism. It teaches that clinging is the root of suffering. Every attachment plants seeds of karmic bondage. When you cling to an object, your spirit bends toward it, chaining your future thoughts, desires, and even rebirth to its memory. Possession creates cycles. Desire leads to acquisition, which then leads to fear of loss, which in turn leads to pain and anxiety, which ultimately renews the cycle of desire. This cycle spins endlessly, trapping you in samsara, the wheel of birth and death, craving and loss, ownership and grief. The deeper danger of ownership lies not in the object itself, but in the way it becomes an extension of the ego. You begin to say, my house, my wealth, my title, my beauty, my reputation. Each "my" expands the ego, creating a false sense of self stitched together by external things. Yet, objects decay, beauty fades, titles are forgotten, wealth is unstable, and reputations shift like clouds in the sky. And when these things inevitably fall, the ego shatters along with them. Thus, what you thought you owned becomes the destroyer of your inner peace. Reflect on this carefully. A person once walked into a silent room, empty except for a mat on the floor. The air was clear, the light was pure, and the stillness was profound. The person sat on the mat and realized that nothing in the room pulled at their attention. The mind was unchained, free to simply be present. Later, that same person returned to a room filled with ornaments, comfortable seats, shelves laden with trinkets, and treasures of all kinds. As they entered, their eyes darted from object to object, their mind filled with concerns about dust, about order, about safety. The mind was restless, unable to find the same peace. Even though the body was still, the empty room revealed a profound truth. It wasn't silence that gave peace, it was the absence of objects demanding possession. The heart was light because nothing in that space owned the mind. There are many layers of ownership, and these layers own you. One is material possessions like clothes, ornaments, tools, and spaces. Each requires care, and each brings fear of damage or loss. 2 is wealth and power. Once gathered, they call for guarding, scheming, and endless worry about decline. 3 is relationships treated as possessions. When loved ones are treated as mine, jealousy and control inevitably arise. Instead of flowing love, one binds both oneself and the other. 4 is titles and reputation. These are fragile mirrors held up by others' opinions. They create immense pressure to perform, to maintain, and to never falter. 5 is memories and stories. Even the past becomes a possession, as people replay memories, both joyful and painful, becoming prisoners of what has already vanished. Each layer tightens the web, forming a prison where true freedom is traded for the illusion of ownership. So, what is the path to liberation? Simplicity is power. It's not about rejecting the world, it's about not letting the world define us. Zen isn't against using objects or enjoying the comforts of life. It warns against being used by them. To use without clinging is mastery. To own without identification is true freedom. Simplicity is the sword that cuts these chains. Each possession surrendered loosens the grip of fear. Each object released frees energy for more meaningful pursuits. Minimalism in Zen is not poverty, it is richness of spirit. By reducing external chains, the inner self expands, growing stronger and more resilient. Mindfulness of desire is key. Every time your mind whispers, "I need this," pause and ask yourself, "Do I truly need this, or do I simply want it to complete some image of myself? Will this object serve me, or will I end up serving it?" Such questioning exposes illusions before they grow into binding chains. If you're finding these teachings resonate, be sure to subscribe. The only things that can be truly owned are virtues, such as compassion, patience, wisdom, and mindfulness. No thief can steal them, no decay can ruin them, and no fire can burn them away. When you shift your focus from material ownership to spiritual cultivation, the paradox dissolves. You stop being owned because you stop clinging to what can never truly be kept. Cultivate your mind and cultivate your spiritual growth. The great illusion of life is believing that ownership grants freedom. The great awakening is realizing that ownership creates bondage. Everything you think you own owns you back through fear, through care, and through constant mental occupation. But once you release ownership, once you live lightly, once you embrace impermanence, then the real treasure shines. This treasure is freedom, peace, and clarity. Zen teaches that the richest person is not the one with the most possessions, but the one least possessed by possessions. When you can sit with nothing and still feel complete, then nothing can truly own you. That is the ultimate wealth. That is the true liberation. The teaching you've just heard is not simply about the material aspects of life, it's a mirror reflecting the inner workings of your mind. To reflect on it deeply, one must not only understand the words, but also observe how possession has already shaped your daily existence. Reflection turns philosophy into lived wisdom. Without reflection, truth remains distant and abstract. But with reflection, it becomes the very air that guides each breath. This is how we break the silent chains that cannot be seen. Think about a time when you received something new, a garment, a tool, or even a small ornament. At first, joy rushed in, warm and glowing. But soon, a subtle shift began. You started thinking about where to keep it, how to protect it, and how to avoid its loss. The very thing that promised happiness became a silent chain, binding you to its care. This is the first important realization, that joy based on possession inevitably transforms into fear of loss. The mind builds invisible prisons while believing it is building comfort. Reflection shows that the true weight of ownership is rarely visible. It sits inside, pressing against the heart like an unseen burden. The illusion of mine is a subtle trap. The word mine appears harmless, yet it is the seed of bondage. Every time you say, my seat, my space, my reputation, my wealth, the ego stretches its claws and attaches itself to something fragile and impermanent. But look closely and ask yourself, does anything truly belong to you? Even the body itself shifts, ages, and eventually returns to dust. The breath flows in and flows out without your conscious command. If even your body is not fully yours, how can anything external ever be? To reflect is to dissolve this illusion. The word mine becomes transparent, and you begin to see that everything is borrowed, flowing through your hands for a short while, never meant to be clutched forever. The mind tends to act as a guard at the gates. The more one owns, the more one guards. The mind becomes a restless watchman, never truly at peace. It checks doors, counts coins, polishes ornaments, defends titles, and worries endlessly about reputation. Ask yourself, is this not a form of slavery? A slave is one who spends their energy serving a master. When you spend your energy serving possessions, who is the master and who is the servant? Freedom is not found in acquiring more, but is found in serving less. When reflection reveals this truth, the mind begins to loosen its grip, realizing that real safety comes not from locking objects away, but from releasing the need to guard them in the first place. The subtle bondage of relationships also deserves careful reflection. We often say, my partner, my child, my friend, as though a living being could be owned like a material object. But when the heart treats another as a possession, chains of control and jealousy inevitably grow. To reflect is to see that true love cannot bloom inside the confines of ownership. True love flows freely, without demanding permanence, without clinging to control. By reflecting deeply, you realize that to say, I own you, is to destroy the very love you wish to protect. Remember, if you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel. Possession is never satisfied. One garment invites the desire for another. One ornament sparks the wish for more. One victory and reputation awakens the hunger for even greater praise. Reflection shows this cycle clearly. No object ever quenches desire permanently. The hunger is endless because it does not come from a lack of objects, but from a lack of inner stillness. It's like drinking salty water. Possessions may soothe your thirst for a moment, but they make the thirst even deeper with time. Reflection teaches that no matter how much you own, you will always feel owned by the desire for more. Consider the gift of simplicity. Think of a simple day, a clear space, a small meal, a calm walk, or a moment of silence. In such simplicity, the heart feels light. The chains of ownership do not rattle because nothing is gripping you tightly. Reflect on how peace often comes not from adding, but from removing. Removing clutter from a room, releasing unnecessary desires, loosening the grip of the mind. These acts create more freedom than acquiring ever could. Reflection reveals a beautiful truth: simplicity is not emptiness, it is spaciousness. And within that spaciousness, joy breathes freely, a joy that cannot be bought or taken away. Through reflection, one begins to see the crucial difference between false wealth and true wealth. False wealth includes ornaments, coins, garments, titles, and praise. All of these can be stolen, broken, or forgotten. True wealth, on the other hand, includes compassion, wisdom, patience, and mindfulness. These remain untouched by time or theft. When you reflect, you recognize where to place your energy. If you spend your life gathering what can be taken, sorrow will visit you again and again. But if you spend your life cultivating what cannot be taken, peace will remain unshaken. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Reflection is a daily practice. It must not remain abstract, it must flow into daily living. Each day, ask yourself, does this object serve me, or do I serve it? Am I guarding this possession, or is it guarding me in chains? If this vanished tomorrow, would my soul remain whole? Such questions sharpen awareness, revealing how much of your life is spent in unconscious bondage, and opening the door to freedom. When reflection deepens, you begin to taste true freedom. A powerful paradox emerges: the less you own, the more you feel rich, rich in peace, rich in clarity, and rich in the space to breathe, to love, and to simply be. True ownership is ownership of self, not of objects, not of titles, and not of other people. Only when you no longer belong to possessions can you belong fully to the present moment. The teaching that everything you own actually owns you is not a call to reject life, but to see it clearly. Reflection transforms possessions from masters into tools, from burdens into passing guests. When you reflect, you no longer fear loss because you no longer cling. You no longer compete because you no longer measure your worth by objects. You no longer feel owned because you no longer seek to own. Freedom is not found in what you carry, it is found in what you can put down. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.